Good evening and welcome to the Disney Discord podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Graham, and tonight I'm joined by.
Bernardo from the Main Street News.
Hello, Bernardo. How are you?
Hi, Graham. I'm very nice. Thank you very much. It's fine,
It
fine
has.
evening.
It is, and it's an evening Disneyland Paris have teased us and tortured us. It is no longer Tuesday; it is indeed Saturday, the 18th of November, as we record this. And
Mm-hmm.
Disneyland Paris at this fine hour of 6:05 p.m. are still sending out news. So they've ruined the start of our podcast by throwing news out there just because they knew we were going to be live,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
obviously. So the news I'm of course referring to, that everybody will be very excited to hear about, is the upcoming Disneyland Paris Symphony of Colours, which is now no longer just the parade, it's actually the entire season. We now have a Symphony of Colours season. That's quite exciting,
Yes.
isn't it?
Very exciting. Truly, really exciting. I'm really excited for that.
The centerpiece of that is a show that I want to get this right because I'm probably going to name it wrong. In fact, I'm going to get it wrong anyway, so I don't know. I believe it's called the Disney Electrical Sky Parade, which
Yes,
is
that's right.
the same parade as the Main Street Electrical Parade that no longer occurs in Disneyland Paris. Instead, they have the newest version of it, which is throwing it up in the sky on drones, which is
Pretty
I've got to
much.
tell you, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Very cool.
So the teaser we got today on that is that they've found a way to throw some fireworks on drones. So expect some exploding drones in your near future. The footage they've given us is the boat. I believe it's Peter Pan's boat that comes round the castle, rotates around the castle, and has a sort of pixie dust shimmer coming off the back of it. I think that's what they're showing us.
That's really, really exciting, actually. I don't think that's ever been done in Disney Parks history, at least. So it should be a very cool effect that they're going for here.
Yeah. So we know that it's 500 drones. It's been confirmed it's 500 drones. So it's the same. I think you said that's the same as Avengers Power of the Night.
Yeah, over at Studios.
I think it's a bit lo-fi. Like that. That's not as many drones as we've seen before in the Disneyland Paris sky. But I think that's maybe deliberate, given the Main Street Electrical Parade. We used to be kind of, what do we call them, popcorn lights or something that were on the floats.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe the look. In the images,
That's a good point.
in the
That's a very good
images
point.
that have been shared as well, we're seeing that there is definitely projection. So we're expecting projection. It looks like there's water fountains. It looks like there's water projection. It looks like there is watercolor, and it certainly looks like there's LED lights back on the turrets of the castle. So
Yeah.
quite
Now they
quite a
also
lot.
teased us. They also teased us with the turrets this Christmas season, and yet there's no turret lights as of yet. So let's keep just let's try to keep optimistic, but not
We'll
take
keep
it for granted.
perspective.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
the the Symphony of Colors season also has a parade.
hmm
Do you want to talk
Yes.
about the parade?
Yeah, sure. So it's pretty much going to be a basic parade in terms of it's not an electrical parade. Um, but what Disney says it's that the starting February 10th, there will be a colorful musical experience in a new energy-packed daytime show celebrating animated films from both Disney Animation and Pixar with a host of characters, a million splashes of color. So I think it's going to be really similar to what was the name from the 30th celebration? Not Ready for the Ride, but it was something else that I don't remember. Well, I think it will be similar to that in that it will have show stops in the middle of the plaza. Um,
Yeah.
with those effects, with the bubbles and the sparkles and everything that we got in the 30th celebrations. So yeah, there's that. Not a lot to talk about at that parade. I do want to say that it doesn't look extremely exciting in terms of floats. They look pretty basic. But I guess a lot of people love parades. I'm not truly one of them, but I get it and I completely understand. Now, there's also something else that we haven't talked about, which is their they will have a lot of decorations, mostly in Main Street and the Plaza for the Symphony of Colors, which is something I wasn't truly expecting. They shared some images from the Main Street station, and also the street lamps will
Hmm.
have some Art Nouveau, strange decorations, which
But
is
not,
something
but not strangely
yeah.
not at the start. Like
Really,
this
that's not
comes
going.
yeah.
Is it coming
So
later?
yes, so it comes later. So
Mm-hmm.
this is one of the things that I found really really odd about the whole
Mm-hmm.
situation, is we're getting the fireworks, not fireworks show, the drone show. We're getting that
Mm-hmm.
on January the 8th, and it goes all the way through to the 30th of September, which makes me wonder if perhaps Dreams is not performing. Um, and then
Mm-hmm.
Mickey and his Million Splashes of Colour outfit will premiere on February the 10th. So we've then got a February the 10th date,
Yeah.
which the Million Splashes of Colour parade and Hub Show is
Mm-hmm.
on the
Yeah,
10th.
yeah.
And then we've got some stuff that kicks off from May,
From May.
including overlays on Main Street and a magical transformation, which makes absolutely no sense.
Well,
It's like something that this just keep this just keeps layering and layering. Like it's not like it's releasing. Like there's no good date if you're thinking. And then there's some stuff like the Million Splashes of Color parade
Mhm.
stops, I believe, in May.
Yeah, I
No, that's
truly
no
don't.
that one's till September. Sorry, that one's till September. I'm trying to find the thing that they've got on till May, which makes absolutely no
Mhm.
sense. Why we're starting things and then finishing them before other things, and then starting random things to go on. Truly puzzling, but Disneyland Paris at its absolute finest. The Gardens of Wonder.
Yeah,
Um, the
people
Gardens of
love
Wonder
that.
didn't leave us, and instead we get the translucent and giant glowing flowers off. Guess what? The Gardens of Wonder. Um, Yeah, here it is. So yeah, we've cut the flowery touches, but thanks to pixie dust sprinkled by Tinkerbell and her twin sister Periwinkle, live from February 10th till May 5th.
Okay, yeah, well, I don't know what to say, to be honest. It's just overly confusing, and
So
I
if
don't
you're
know
making any
why.
plans that you want to go and see it, everybody, don't, because you won't. Don't spend too long. You're not. I mean, to be honest, the gardens you're not going to miss too much. But that tells me that something else is happening on May the 5th. That there's going to be an overlay on May the 5th. Who knows?
Yeah.
It may be like the whole May the 4th be with you. Like Darth Vader comes in and just destroys all the plants. It's like that's enough
Well,
color around here.
that would be cool. That would be extremely cool, actually.
Yeah, Star Wars is now
Synergy.
taking over summer. You'll
Yeah,
see
yeah,
him joining the Main Street Drone Show. Anyway, too much on that. Let's not spend too much time worrying about the odd eccentricities of Disneyland Paris and their nonsense. We also had the latest financial call, the quarter
Mhm.
four and the year end financial call for the Walt Disney Company, and it was illuminating in how boring the actual call was. What we understand from the call is that Hulu is now getting bought outright, which again isn't really a great surprise to anybody here. The new news there is it's all getting flung in the same app, so it's going to be in the Disney Plus app.
Mhm.
Everybody in Europe already knows what that looks like because it'll. I am assuming Hulu will just take the place where we have Star. I think the greatest question we have, kind of overarching, is: are we going to get called Hulu, or are we just going to
Yeah,
keep Star? It doesn't make any difference. It's literally a branding thing at the end of Disney Plus.
yes.
Um, or will they
Pretty
change
much.
America to say Star? That I don't know.
Ooh, nah, I don't think so.
Hulu's
Hulu
a
is a
brand.
strong brand, yeah.
It's
Hulu's a
not in
strong
Europe
brand.
though,
No, not in Europe. In the
but
US,
neither's
they wouldn't
Star.
change it. Well, yeah,
Like,
Star is just yeah, just there. But I don't know. I think they may just change it all to Hulu. But
yeah,
I guess we'll see.
I don't know because in India and in
Yep.
Asia, Hotstar is definitely the known brand. Like
Hmm.
Hotstar is the brand, and people know what Hotstar is, and that's how we were kind of gifted Star. Um,
Yeah. That's a
So
good
we've
point.
got that. The other thing that was kind of they laid out their capex plan, and for anybody who doesn't know what capex is, that's how much money they're going to spend on building actual things. So that's plant machinery, roller coasters, rides, buildings, food locations, stuff like that. And basically
Exciting
they've
stuff.
told the exciting stuff, and well, we can't really call it the exciting stuff because they effectively told us over the next 10 years, for the next 5 years, they don't anticipate spending very much extra. And then in 5 years, they anticipate spending a bit more. But the bonanza, the 60 billion bonanza that was about to be spent, I can assure you is not being spent in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we know
they did focus more on the domestic parks though, didn't
they
they?
did. But they always do. I mean,
So
investors are predominantly
yeah,
American. So
exactly.
that's
But that applies more to domestic. So international could be, as I said, turbocharging the investment
what
in the parks.
what I
So
think. If I'm going to read into this optimistically, they're already
yeah.
spending a lot of money just now. So they're spending a lot of
Oh yeah, for
money.
sure.
You know, we've just come off Tron. We've just come off Guardians of the Galaxy at Epcot
Mhm.
and the Moana water thing. Um, we you can tell I'm not impressed by that. We are building a massive expansion at Walt Disney Studios, and
Mhm.
they are doing Hong Kong, which isn't financed by Disney, so you can't really include it. But
Well, it
they're
is.
doing
It is half. They spend half of the investment. It's Disney's and the government.
yeah,
So
but they don't
half
they
half.
don't. But also the foreign partner picks like who the contractors and everything are, so they never spend as much because, quite
Mhm.
frankly, only Disney know how to absolutely overpay for everything they ever build.
True.
So you got that, and then
Absolutely true.
there's the in Anaheim, there's the whole expansion that they're kind of looking at there, and the
Oh
future.
yeah,
What is it?
Disneyland
Disneyland
Forward.
Future.
Disneyland
Yeah,
Forward.
Disneyland Forward.
Yeah.
I remember that. So what they have said is they intend to spend the same amount of capex that they're currently spending. So to be totally honest with you, if that means that the current amount of money that we're currently spending building the lake in Walt Disney
Hmm.
Studios in Paris, and we've got Avengers Campus, followed by we're getting Frozen, followed by the next thing, followed by the theatre district. To be honest, if they maintain that level, if you're talking every single year or every
Yeah.
second year you're getting a major project delivered, I actually am okay with that. That seems reasonable.
Oh
That's a
yeah, I'm one
reasonable level of
hundred
investment.
percent okay with that. Yeah. One
And
hundred percent.
if that's considered what we're getting for the next 10 years, that'll net it out to about 5 new lands, or at least 5 new large attractions. So,
Hmm.
do you know what? If that's what we're getting, that's not bad. Um,
Completely
if I
agree.
mean, we're also spending on the village. Like Disney Village is getting overhauled. If we're going to keep spending that level of money, if that's just the level of money we're spending, it's actually okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty
What we're
fine with that.
yeah,
I'm not
it's not
complaining.
bad. It's not a bad level of
Yeah.
investment. So the truth is, they're already at a high level of investment. So if what they were saying on the call is true, that they're going to keep it at that level of investment, yeah, okay.
Hmm. Yeah, completely fine with
What's
me.
your take?
Oh yeah. I mean, we're starting to get the results from the investment in Disneyland Paris. We got the Avengers Campus one, and then now we're really steaming ahead to the lake and the frozen lands. So if that's what they're giving us, and they'll continue to give us in the next, I think 5 6 years, I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah.
If we get Frozen in 2025, then 2 years later we get the third land, which should be Lion King. If that's how they plan on doing the timeline, I'm 100% fine with that.
I
Getting
think what
it.
we've been scared off by these large multi-year, like, no investments, like nothing
Yeah,
came. And I think that,
yeah.
to be honest, if there's always, if we're not always getting like half a new park every 10 years,
Mhm.
but instead every second year you're getting one or two attractions, I'm okay with that. That seems a reasonable level of growth.
Yeah, completely agree. I completely agree
Um,
with
they're building a ton of hotels, DVC. They have 3 new ships coming to join the fleet, so they're doubling down on hotels and DVC and obviously the cruise business. So they obviously believe that the future is in having guests stay on site and spend more money. So that gives us a little bit of insight. They're heavily investing in the amount of rooms that Disney as a company have available, whether that's on land or floating about. And I think from what I was reading online, I don't have much news on the boats, but there's 3 new boats coming. They intend to have some Asia specific boats. They intend also, as I understand it, to do year-round European. So that's a bit missing just now because they don't often do year-round European.
Yeah.
They obviously are quite keen to do that. And then, despite my worries earlier on, it seems the US and China are cozying back up to each other. Obviously, because China's about to hit a massive economic problem, the US has got quite a strong economy, and everybody is getting a bit bored of war, I think. So I think that, in the grand scheme of things, maybe China's back on the cards.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I'm just finishing my video of the week, which I got a bit late, but I'm working on possible future expansions for Hong Kong Disneyland, and there's a lot of stuff that can be done. Actually,
Walk us through it.
Yeah, so pretty much, I was just reading an article that WWNT put out earlier this year about the plan that is happening over at Hong Kong Disneyland, which started I think in 2015, and it was to spend around 11 billion US dollars in plussing the resort. So and what they told us is that half of the money would come from the Walt Disney Company and half would come from the government, because it's the joint venture of Hong Kong Disneyland, and they've been truly having new additions to the park since then with their version of Star Tours, which is themed to Iron Man, the new castle, the retheme of Buzz Lightyear, Laser Blast, and now Frozen, which is opening, in some days, I think. So super exciting stuff. And also, they've only spent until the end of 2022. They spent about half of that whole budget, which was 11 billion US dollars. So they have around four. Which was it? No. Actually, they spent less than half. Yeah, they spent 44% of that budget. So they have like $5.6 billion still to spend in other projects, and that's that's a lot of money.
It
And
is a
they
lot
can
of money.
do a lot of stuff. They can do new lands, new additions, new attractions. They have the space for it. And then there's the second theme park that Hong Kong Disneyland was originally planned with. Is the space is currently being used as a quarantine, strange Chinese facility. But with the COVID pandemic ending, they should stop using that. It won't be needed. So that may be in the cards in a couple of years if Hong Kong Disneyland turns a profit this year with Frozen, which I hope it does. And then there's Shanghai with loads of space to expand.
Yeah. So we've got a bit more happening in the international arena now, and one of those things is the expansion to Disneyland Paris. But there's a competitor coming to the area, isn't there? You seem more convinced than ever.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
so let's do this more like an interview then. Let me interview you because you're going to squirm on this one. I can totally tell. So, in confidence of it becoming a universal resort, out of 100%, how certain are you?
I'd say I go up and down depending on the day, but I'd say with the info that has been given to me, about like 70%, 75% if it's in a good day. So yeah, that should be pretty
And do you
telling.
think there's going to do you think they're going to rebrand it to like Universal Portaventura, or do you think it's going to be Mediterranean again, or do you think they're going to come in with a nice new name and
Yeah.
brand?
So if we look back in 1996 when they bought the resort for the first time, they
Hmm.
only the only thing they did for the 1997 season was, well, they had some new additions, but in terms of branding, they only added Universal, and it was Universal Sportaventura.
Hmm.
The big change was with Universal Mediterranean, which brought a real resort. So they built two hotels, a water park, plenty of expansions. That's when they really got that thing up and running as a resort. So what I
Okay.
think could happen is something similar. So they start by rebranding very slowly and fixing the park, because there's a lot of fixing needed. And in a couple of years, maybe 2 3 years, when they have everything up and running and some new IPs and stuff like that, they may rebrand it completely to something like Universal Barcelona Resort or Universal,
Hmm.
I don't know, Mediterranean, something like that. I don't know the branding. I really don't. But what I've been told is, yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening there at this moment. So truly exciting stuff. I just can't say more because they don't want me to. So yeah, that's it.
There's no new news there. I think the biggest thing we're going to see is these things are always driven by financial quarters, and certainly quarter four
Hmm.
is the sort of time that people
Hmm.
prop up their balance sheets. And I think that if we're going to see a deal, I think you're going to see it very end of the year or very start of next year. I don't think you're going to see anything. I don't think you're going to see
Yeah,
anything mid-November. And
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
just a guess. I mean, the way finances work, you either are having a very good quarter, and if you get to the end of quarter four and you think we've got a bit more in the budget than we expected,
Hmm.
that's a good time to trigger it. Or the best time to trigger it is at the start of a new financial year, and they run January to December. And if they've paid down an awful lot and they're looking for a wee bit more of a tax break, sometimes making a wee purchase early on in the year is quite good for your taxes. So I would think that.
Exactly. And let's not forget. I mean, Universal. Well, Comcast is a huge brand. They have the money, and PortAventura. They stated that they're selling the park for, it was 1 billion euros. Now
Mhm.
that's not just a small amount of money, of course, but
It's
considering
not that
you,
expensive compared to
yeah,
some of the
exactly.
costs.
Exactly. Considering Comcast and theme parks in general, it's truly not that much for a resort that has 6 or 5 hotels, plenty of amazing attractions, and it's in a great location, has a history of being profitable. So I mean, it just makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's
So
that.
I
Yeah.
think I think we're going to see some of that. The output and the response by Disney, it'll take us a while to see that because Harry Potter took nearly 10 years to see the
Yeah.
response fully actualized by Disney.
Yeah.
And I guess that in some ways they think strategically and they don't jump on and think we'll have one or two, um, fight
Mhm.
backs. But it will be interesting. So we've looked at Asia, we've looked to Paris, we've looked to potentially mid Europe for Universal. The
Mhm.
the other place we need to take a little wander just now is across to Florida, and it's currently Luminous is getting very close to launching. I
Oh
think the
yeah, yeah.
Epcot's
Is
new
it
show
like
is
when is
testing
it?
now.
Luminous, right?
Yeah,
Luminous.
December 5th or something, I think it is.
Oh
And
yeah,
Luminous,
it's
the
really
story of
close.
us. Yeah, it's very close. And
Very exciting.
this show is one that Iger personally ordered. And
Hmm.
he I think he came in, and it's odd because he spent so much doing Harmonious. Like Bob Chapek spent so much on Harmonious that Iger came
Yeah.
in and was like, yeah, the guests hate it, I hate it, it's gone. And and I think this is where it's kind of funny because you've got his new one, which is Luminous and the Story of Us, or
The Symphony
the
of
Symphony of
Us.
Us, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that is going to be the new sort of hallmark show in Walt Disney World, and they've spent a lot of money. Like if you look at the infrastructure of this show, it is unreal what they've spent on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Do you
I
think
mean,
it's been more expensive than the last one? Than what was the name of the Epcot?
Harmonious
Harmonious, yeah.
or Epcot Forever.
That infrastructure was pretty big as well.
Oh yeah, but this is more. This is. I mean, it's not to look at. It's not more, but it is more.
Yeah.
I mean, those barges
Okay.
have everything. They have fire. They have pyro. They have lights. They have lasers. They have sound. They have water. They have. I mean, if it can do it, that it's going to do it. They've replumbed the whole lake. They've created whole new anchor points. They've integrated more of the World Showcase surroundings into the central show. Like this is
Yeah, yeah.
expensive. The only thing they're obviously going to use the Epcot ball. The geodesic dome is going to be included as
Mhm.
well, which was upgraded as part of Harmonious. So I, I guess that probably cost quite a bit to do.
Yeah.
You can't really, but I think they're going to do that. But this is very much Iger has put his stamp on this and said this has got to be a Disney classic.
Oh,
You know,
hopefully it
straight-
will. Hopefully it will. Epcot needs a big, great end of the day nighttime spectacular. I'm really
Yeah.
excited to see how that turns out as well.
So we haven't got long. It's not long until we see that.
Yeah, it's like a couple of weeks from now. Exciting.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Harmonious, the story of the Symphony of Us. Sorry, I keep calling it the story of us, but it's not. It's Luminous, not Harmonious. This is the problem. Name the shows properly. Stop giving them all the same name, just with a couple of
I mean,
characters difference.
when you have a new show every 2 years, well, there's
Yes.
not much you can do. It gets
get-
confusing. And then we have Disneyland Paris with the same show from 10 years ago. So, yeah.
Disneyland, honestly, Disneyland Paris is such a. Its technology sometimes is so infuriating. Like, I always just assumed. See, I stayed off site, so I just lived with the oddities of booking restaurants and everything. How can it possibly be harder to book a restaurant staying on site than it is if you stay off site? Like, how is that possible? Like, how can that possibly be a thing? But it's a thing. To just.
Yeah, that's DLP for
actually-
you.
It's actually harder. Like I cannot get a downtown reservation for love nor money, and I'm booked on site. And I was on the 6th. Like I was available on the day that it
Yeah.
opened. I don't understand how it could be easier for me to sign up with DLP tables and pick up a reservation when it opens to the public. Like,
Well, I mean, yeah.
shoot me. Like,
Well, I've been a hater of Disneyland Paris' systems for very long. I'm proud to say that. So
we
That tells you
usually
something.
get some absolute nutter, and I don't mean anybody in particular, but we usually get some absolute nutters like, oh, but it's because they like having their own app. Their own app's dreadful. Like, what have we gained out of this so-called independence of app? What direction have they taken it in that they couldn't possibly have just copied the? I mean, there's nothing in the DLP app that makes me think, oh, we're so lucky to have this specific
Oh
version
yeah,
of the
it's
app.
the worst. It's the worst.
I mean, name one feature. Name one feature that we've benefited from that the Americans don't go. Yeah, we've got that too.
Not being able to book a table. That's a feature right there.
You will save your waistline because you will not be able to eat.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
I mean, ordering
Very
food in the
European.
app. Have you ordered food in the Disneyland Paris app?
Oh, it's the worst. It's
I mean-
awful.
It was
to
designed by
put
someone
your-
who's clearly never ordered food. Like it was.
Yeah, it's really
Let's do
bad.
this, but let's do this by committee by a bunch of people that have never ordered food. Like it is the most. I mean, honestly, Disneyland Paris need to give up just now and use the US Disney app. Someone will come along and say that it doesn't work. It doesn't work with their systems. It 100% works with their systems. Disneyland Paris use Galaxy. Disneyland Resort use Galaxy. It's the same back end system. They can
Even if
absolutely
you
use.
just update the systems. I mean, you're giving your guests a much better experience. There must be some payoff in that.
Yeah. Get
Yeah, it's crazy. You
You
can even
get-
pay with PayPal.
whole
Dan
new.
said, yeah, it's
A whole
crazy.
new app is required. Not just a new. In fact, get the same app that they have. Everybody else has the same app. Steal that app and just upgrade whatever system there is. Let's just admit there's going to be a couple of days where it's a bit rough, but actually on January the 3rd, we're just going to swap it across. It's going to be an ugly 2-day, really difficult handover, but to be totally honest, it's quiet anyway, and if there's a wee bit of an extra queue,
Yeah.
that's fine. Like, let's just do it on 3rd of January or something. Let's just rip out the system and put in another system. Like, we do not need this rubbish that they've invented. So
I completely agree. I truly completely agree. So yeah.
yeah. And I'm probably, by the way, this is probably, I think, one of the rules of Inside Ears is I'm not allowed to criticise the Disneyland Paris app, so that's probably me getting booted out after this podcast. The app has been dreadful. The app has been dreadful. Booking a hotel was dreadful. Paying for the hotel was dreadful. Linking the reservation from the website to the app was. I don't understand. Like, they send you an email instantly saying, "Now manage your booking in the app." It takes 4 days to go live in the app. How is this possible? Did
It's
someone
just
manually have to copy the bookings into the app?
nothing works. It's yeah, oh gosh, it's just
Like,
so
imagine how many people immediately. I mean, I knew not to phone them because I thought it'll just be slow because it's Disneyland Paris. But how many people probably book it and it's like manage it in the app and then you can't? And then in the app it says remove, so you've only got like an 8-digit number. The advice is wrong. You actually need to make sure the first 3 letters are in the number. There has to be 3 letters before the number, otherwise it doesn't recognise it. So the instruction it gives on the page is actually back to front. It means the opposite of what it says.
whoa. Yeah.
Oh, they're just, honestly, they annoy me. They annoy me. They also send you an email and tell you to make sure you book your transport, but have no transport available now. Like, they just send you off the Magic Shuttle. You can't integratedly book your transport. Not that I would.
Yeah.
Not that.
I do.
Not that
I do
would.
use Magical Shuttle quite a lot, to be honest. They work fine,
I
I
don't.
guess.
I don't mean that. I mean, I wouldn't book it through Disneyland Paris. I'd always book it a little
Oh
bit
yeah.
cheaper myself. But it's just
Uh-huh.
hilarious that they have no integration. Like, there are people that will pay them for that integration. The Disneyland Hotel joins us shortly. We're 2 months out from the grand reopening of Disneyland Hotel. It's started to light up, and as I understand it, casts are starting to get
Yeah.
trained on the menu that it will be serving, because I think there's a preview menu of it. I think the New Year menu or something.
Oh, yeah, will
Is
it be
very
the same
similar.
as the one to be sold in
Yeah.
the Disneyland hotel? Okay, that's interesting.
So I think they're testing some of the menu, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It's
That
going to
was
be expensive as it's going to be so expensive the restaurants in the
yeah.
Disneyland hotel. It's crazy.
So
Absolutely crazy.
here's one of the sort of thoughts that I now see recurrent. So you've now got to book some of your experiences. You've got to play around with. You don't really have to play around with the fast pass system, replacement system at Disneyland Paris. To be totally honest, if you go when it's quiet, you don't need to pay.
Yeah.
But in the US, there's a lot of booking and passes and lightning lanes and all that sort of rubbish. Has Disney completely abandoned the idea of just turning up and enjoying your day? Like, is that done?
Well, yeah, I guess so. Well, more in Disney World. I think that Disneyland Paris still has the best system when compared to Genie in terms of you can completely ignore it and it won't affect your day that much.
Yeah.
But Genie is just the worst for people who don't want to buy into that system, and even for people that do buy into the system, it's just so confusing, and you have to have lessons to know to how to operate that system, which is something that it
I
just
mean,
doesn't make any
what
sense.
what is Genie Plus now? Like, what does it cost a day? It's really expensive.
Well,
I
it depends.
understand.
It completely depends. It used to be like $15 when it was first integrated, but now it goes from like $20 to $50, something like that. So it can be really expensive. It completely depends on the day, though. So if you're going in a quiet season, it's going to be much cheaper.
Because there's a bit of me that wonders. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying you everybody would want to pay for it, but there must be like a level of, so multiple parts $25, Hollywood Studios 22, Epcot 18, Animal Kingdom 16, so it's cheaper there. And then it's reached the highest it's reached. Although you're right, it can go up all the way to 50. Is $35 plus tax. So
Okay.
it can go up to $35. There must be a level. Like obviously, not everybody buys Genie Plus. Surely Disney could just look at it and go, "I tell you what, we're getting rid of the whole thing. We're getting rid of Genie Plus, and
Problem
instead
is
there's a."
that they get money from it, so why would they do that?
Well, this is the second part of my plan. They
Oh,
just
okay.
meet us in the middle. Like if it's, if it's an extra, I don't know, it's saying $25 is a sort of average there, or in fact, the average is actually $20. So let's put the average price of the ticket up a little bit for everyone. But the agreement is the ticket's going up, but we're getting rid of this daft genie thing. Keep the lightning lane. I don't really mind the idea that, but
Yeah.
make it really expensive. Like, so if somebody
Yes.
is on a 1 day trip and wants to skip
Yeah.
one queue for $25 each, I don't actually think that bothers me because I don't think that many people will do it that it annoyed me enough. And I think that,
Well, then just implement the same system that's in Paris. Just do Premier Access. You can
correct.
buy a single. Yeah, I do think it's from all of the systems that we have currently, it's the best one in terms of it works fine, easily, and it doesn't really bother the people that don't pay for it because the queues don't get huge and completely unmanageable.
Mhm.
So yeah, I agree. Just get rid of Genie Plus. It's the worst.
So, what would we replace? So, Premier Access, pretty much what we'd replace it with.
I don't think Premier Access needs replacing, to be
No,
honest.
no, I mean, we'd use that to replace Genie Plus.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can
I,
call it
I,
Genie Plus. I like the name. Genie Plus is quite a cool name. I like the name Genie Plus.
yeah, I do too, to be honest. So keep
Like,
the
that's
name,
not.
just change everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what else have we got to cover today, sir?
Well, I think we can just go jump a little bit into Arendelle
Please do.
because um I just saw a tweet a couple of hours ago saying that Hong Kong's version of Frozen Ever After has more improvements over Epcot's than I personally was expecting. So we were all expecting the animatronics to have practical faces, so no projections,
Mhm.
which they look amazing compared to Epcot's. But it's also a complete new ride system. So the new
Mhm.
Intamin ride system, it's a much longer ride path, which allows for more separation between the scenes. So that's good. And it's also 1.5 minutes longer. So the boats are bigger. It's a much longer ride path. It takes longer to complete. So one of the major problems that Epcot had was the capacity. So it had a very low capacity, and a lot of people wanted to ride the thing. So I think it should have a much better capacity, fixing one of the major problems plaguing the one from Epcot. And also, this one catch me by surprise. It actually has a more intense drop, which I
Oh.
was not expecting. Yeah. And then Moon Knight, um, who's also here in the Discord, he replied saying that some of his colleagues sent over there said that the drop pushed them against the lap bar. So it should be quite
Also, it's
interesting
quite
to
it's
see.
quite an intense drop as well. Then it's not just a.
Yeah, I was not
Mhm.
expecting that. So yeah, well, fun, I guess. Good to see these small yet very impressive improvements. Really enjoyed it.
Especially
Let's
because
hope.
we can expect them to be coming.
Yeah, exactly. The same ride is coming to Paris. It's getting built right now as we speak. So really exciting stuff there.
Anything
Mm,
else?
Anything else? Anything else? Well,
You wanted to cover
uh,
Zootopia, I think.
yeah, we can go to Zootopia, I guess. So Shanghai's new land, very exciting stuff. I still don't fully understand the ride system. Some have described it as a reskinned Rise of the Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
So but then others describe it as a reskin of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So those are two similar rides, but there's one big part of it that's the Star Tours simulator type of part that doesn't happen in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. That does happen
Well, they've the
yeah.
ride car for it. The ride car is a direct copy.
Mhm.
It is the Rise of the Resistance ride car.
Well, then that should answer the question. So if that means it all, if that means they also get the full experience from Rise of the Resistance, that's gonna to be a really amazing attraction. And
Could it be? Could it be that they've maybe? I mean, Rise of the Resistance is very physical set,
yeah,
and I think that Mickey's Runaway Railway possibly. I mean, one of the things Disney really liked about it is it was quite cheap, and it's because
Mhm.
effectively everything's just projection. And I think
Yeah,
that
pretty much.
you could have a sort of blend of those things. You could have physical effects, but you could also add an awful lot of projection. And Zootopia was a cartoon, so it makes a lot of sense that you could project it in many ways. Whereas Star Wars was
Mhm.
always real, so I
I
think
honestly think it's going to be like a mix of both.
yeah, I think so.
It's not going to be a clone of the right path or anything
No,
of either, but
no,
they possibly just joined both concepts together and joined it with Zootopia theming, and there you've got yourself an e-ticket attraction, which is also the
but
only attraction in that land, so it has to be a good one.
yeah, it has to be kind of big, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't like this whole you get one attraction per land thing though.
Yeah, I kind of agree, to be honest.
Like,
It's a bit disappointing seeing Hong Kong with their coaster, the family coaster, which has a long name I don't even remember. Sliding Sleighs, I
yeah,
forgot. So that coaster, a lot of people were joking, saying it's com- absolutely short, the shortest coaster in terms of time
well,
possible.
is it not something ridiculous like actual ride time if you take out the lift is something like 45 seconds?
Oh, I think it's actually less. I think it's actually less than that. It's like 35 seconds, maybe.
That might have been what I heard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's really short. But on the other hand, a it's highly themed, like spectacularly themed. It looks amazing at night, and it just you know adds a little something
We've
more
seen
to
that before
Arendelle.
though. We've seen that before though.
Mhm.
Ariel's Undersea Adventure at the Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World is mega themed. It's themed like it's the
Mhm.
e-ticket to end all e-tickets. It's got a huge land. It's got a great castle. It lights up. It's got
Yeah.
colours. It has water features. It has all that, and it's literally just one of those Omnimover things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It's-
really but in that case they built an entire land for it. So oh no, sorry, that would be Paris. But yeah, I agree. So it's really strange why they'd spend that amount of money in theming what is, as Jojo is saying, a Barnstormer or Casey Jr. Type of ride. But
Mhm.
on the other hand, I'm glad they did because it looks amazing and it's going to be an exceptional family coaster that little kids will love. And it gives amazing views of Arendelle. So if we go back to Paris and we look at what we're getting, it's a bit disappointing that we don't have that. But on the other hand, we have the meet and greet that they don't, I think, in Hong Kong. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's still a
Well,
coaster compared to a meet and greet. So
it gives them something to expand, I suppose. Zootopia,
true.
the Zootopia land opens shortly, doesn't it? It's December that opens.
Is it December? I'm not actually sure. I can check
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I'm sure it's December. So
Oh,
we're going to see it. I mean,
so
potentially by the time we do the next podcast, we'll already have seen through it.
oh yeah,
Um, so
cool. I didn't know
You've got
it's
December.
already.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah,
probably wrong. Nobody's shouting in the chat that I'm wrong. So,
yeah.
uh,
No, you could be. I just didn't realize it was this soon.
so Zootopia, Hot Pursuit. It is the same. It's the exact same ride system as Rise of the Resistance. It is the Rise of the Resistance ride system.
Okay.
Obviously that doesn't that the Rise of the Resistance ride system is effectively a slightly better version of the Ratatouille ride system. Like it's just it's a more grown up version of the Ratatouille box.
Yeah, I guess so. It the thing that Rise of the Resistance was very it kept breaking down in the first couple of months. But I think that the major problem wasn't the ride system itself, but the effects that stopped working. I could be
Yeah.
wrong though, but like the cannons in that one of the last scenes, they used to go, they used to move, like go to the front and
Yeah.
then shoot and go backwards. Uh, that's not happening anymore in
Well,
either case.
I don't think Kylo Ren now even exists as the animatronic because he not like and there's a
I
scene
think,
when
yeah. I think
he's
he, the
projected
in
now.
one of the yeah they had the B mode,
Mm-hmm.
which normally works more than the A mode, I guess. So that's a bit disappointing because that I mean I'm a huge Star Wars fan and that ride was absolutely breathtaking. And I didn't have Kylo in B mode, so it was pretty exciting and pretty amazing to just be there. I loved every second of it. So I guess it's an amazing ride, and I hope that Zootopia retheme is one as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably all that's happening in Disney Sphere just now. It will go quiet over Christmas while they have the Christmas celebration, and then I expect,
Mm-hmm.
like I said earlier, we're probably going to see a lot more come out in January.
Yep. Yeah, I think so
Um,
too.
I
One
think
last
of
thing. Yeah, go
no,
ahead.
on you go.
Yeah. No, I was just going to mention the IAPA Expo that has been happening this week in Orlando, which all the major brands and manufacturers come together to share the new stuff they've been developing for theme parks. And
Mm-hmm.
Disney didn't have a big presence there. They were present via I think it's Disney's live entertainment division.
Yeah.
So they didn't have anything too big over there. Neither did Universal. But just wanted to mention that because it ended today or yesterday, and so it was a bit sad because I wasn't expecting anything from Disney, but something at the same time. But they didn't. So yeah.
I think the one other thing I've kind of got is Disney are currently in the process of reformulating their Disney Plus strategy. They've
Mhm.
decided that Marvel is not cutting it for them, and they've had a sort of powwow on having quality coming out, which is quite exciting actually, because I think they've got a bit addicted to the whole release of
Mhm.
Marvel, 4 Marvels a year, followed by 2 Star Wars a year, followed by, so I think we're going to get some new, nice, exciting content because I think if they spend a little bit less, but on a wider variety of things, we're going to get some good quality television coming out,
Yeah,
and
I
certainly
think so
movies.
too. I think so too. Yeah.
So
Really exciting stuff happening there. Yeah.
I think on a wider basis, that's probably likely to be new.
Mm-hmm.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Well, that has been the Disney Discord podcast. We call it Disney Discord podcast if you are not tuning in from the Discord server and you are watching this and wondering or listening to this and thinking, where do these people hang out? We actually have a Discord that will be in the show notes and the links below. And you can come join us where we talk absolute rubbish for months on end and we are the grand central station of the interface between things people see on YouTube, things people
Yeah.
read on forums, things people tweet, people who tweet, people who are actually insiders, and then some of us who are just speculators. But we have a great deal of fun, and we have a really cool podcast that you're obviously listening to. And we discuss and we share a lot of stuff about Disney, and we have a great time, and everybody's really lovely, and yeah. So you should come and join us. If you're bored, jump on our Discord, which will be linked below. Thank you very much. I've been Graham. Goodbye.
Bye bye. See ya.